Welcome to the AI Ireland podcast, your window into the world of AI innovation on the island of Ireland. Join us as we explore how AI is harnessed to tackle both business and societal challenges, revealing the cutting-edge solutions emerging from this vibrant AI community. Don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates and insights in the world of AI. Welcome to the AI Ireland podcast. I'm your host and founder, Mark Kelly. Today we have Balaji Padmanathan, a remarkable student whose project has earned him a finalist spot at AI Awards 2023 for his best application of AI in a student project. His work proposes an intelligent solution to optimize the network of electric vehicle charging stations across Dublin. Firstly, congratulations on becoming a finalist, Balaji. What motivates you to focus on electric vehicle charging stations for your project?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me. And yeah, so I had actually been thinking of doing like a project in the energy and utility sector for quite some time, right? So, and then in my final semester in my master's, I had to do a project as one of the modules. So I thought like now would be a good time to, use that and like continue on that project. So, and as a sign, I also got like an internship at a power management company around that time. So I thought all these are like a sign, for me to work on that. And then like once that was decided, I was doing some research on different topics that I could choose. So I was looking up on different research papers, and I stumbled upon some interesting research that was done on like using optimization algorithms to find potential electric vehicle charging stations that could be viable. So I thought that could be a good area, that could be a good topic to work on, especially considering that like I was in Dublin, because in Dublin, like every day when I was on a commute or like walking around, I used to see so many cars that was on the streets. And even if you go to any suburb or like a neighborhood, you used to see like 2 to 3 cars in every household. So I was thinking, this particular topic, if, used right, it could definitely increase the existing charging infrastructure and potentially improve the you know, transition towards electric vehicles. So that was the idea behind, going for this topic.
And it's something that I can relate to. So I cycle 90% of the time, but I do have a hybrid car. And one of the challenges I do have is not having enough places for it to electrically charge.
Yeah.
And it's not the first time people have actually said that as well. If we dive into the AI applications and how you actually went about using that as well, tell us a little bit about the specific methods that you used to implement in your project and how did they actually contribute to its success?
Yeah. So before I jump into that, like I'll just give a brief intro on the existing research that was available, right? So like most of the papers were trying to use some sort of optimization algorithm. Most of them tried to use like multiple integer linear programming or particle swarm optimization. And what they tried to do was try to use cost as an objective function, basically. So that, the final locations that they tried to filter out had like low cost of setups, basically cost of setting up, and they try to use different constraints to achieve that objective function. So my initial plan was actually to adapt those approaches for Dublin, because because most of the papers were doing something similar. So I thought it would be an easy way for me to just adapt it for Dublin. But the problem was I was actually not able to get the data set that was required to do that approach, because I tried reaching out to different institutions and I tried to ask for like EV station setup costs or any land acquisition expenses that I could potentially find for different parts of Dublin, right? I was hoping that I could get such similar data, but I was not able to find it. So what I had to do was then to pivot and try to do it on my own way, like in a different way, which could be where I could just use open source data to solve it. So obviously the first part was to get the different data sets that could potentially be used for the analysis. That I think we'll cover in the later part. But once I was able to get the open source data, what I tried to do was initially just to identify the potential locations, which would act as the base for the subsequent ranking. So in order to do the identification, I used this algorithm called DBSCAN, which is basically like a density-based spatial clustering. So thereby, what it does is it looks at locations that are very close to each other and tries to cluster them into one whole cluster. So this way, I tried to reduce my potential locations from close to 7,000 locations down to like 1,700, close to 1,700. So that sort of reduced my base locations. And then once the base was set, what I then had to do was to rank each of these optimal locations. So in order to do that, I used this concept called sphere of influence. So what I did was around each and every potential location I found, I created this concept called sphere, which basically helps you to understand the importance of that location just with respect to its contextual surroundings, rather than looking, at the importance with respect to the whole of Dublin, which would not make a lot of sense. So I then had to come up with the sphere of influence, and then I had to create like a scoring function basically, which sort of looked at different features of the each hotspot, and then using those sphere of influence and the scoring function, I was able to finally rank each of these locations.
And when you were actually looking on the data collection
Yeah.
and trying to think outside of the box and kind of pivot and using open source, how helpful was that for you?
Yeah, so it is more out of necessity that I had to, pivot, because if I don't have any data set that I could find from like, any of the institutions, I obviously had to come up with a different way. And helpfully, you have like a lot of open source data available right now. And I'm particularly thankful for OpenStreetMaps and OpenChargeMaps, which give you like inch precision data, like especially at a coordinate level. And they also give you like different details of each and every coordinate that's available. Like they give this particular feature called amenity, which basically tags each and every coordinate. Let's take, for example, IKEA, right? Like you have different coordinates just within IKEA. So it specifically gives the coordinate of that location and then gives a tag for that location, let's say parking or shopping mall or something like that. So I was able to use those open source data just to do this analysis.
And if you're looking at scaling this and going to the next level, how would you envision that playing out?
Yeah, like the next main thing for me to actually do was, so once this analysis was done, I actually haven't validated it yet with like, real life data. So I had actually used the existing EV stations as a feature in the analysis, but my next potential step would be to actually use it as a validation set. So what I could do was remove that from my analysis, like again redo the whole analysis without that existing EV station as a feature, come up with a set of locations which comes through my analysis, and then validate it against the existing locations just to see how accurate my analysis is with the existing way in which the charging station placement has been done. And I can again repeat it to different locations inside of Ireland. And then once I get like a reasonable accuracy with my analysis, like by tweaking my different set of metrics just to get increased accuracy, I could potentially scale it up to different locations in Ireland and across the world.
It's a wonderful example, and I hope you have the opportunity to actually take it from a POC and actually put it into production. And I'm sure there'll be other people listening into this episode and thinking how they can actually collaborate with you on it. Today, we've had the opportunity to speak with Balaji, and Balaji is up for one of our finalists for Best Application of AI in a Student Project. Balaji, thank you very much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
I'm really excited to unveil my new book, AI Unleashed, Navigating the AI Revolution as a Business Executive, which is now accessible to purchase on Amazon and Amazon Kindle. This publication is the fruit of half a decade's worth of meticulous research and high-level conversations with experts in the field, both in Ireland and globally. The book is particularly timely, featuring current discussions on AI governance in the European Union and North America. If you're aiming to grasp the full scope of AI, ready your enterprise for its transformative power, and utilize it to your advantage, this book is specifically crafted for you. It serves as a pragmatic guide, clarifying misconceptions and presenting real-world insights for leaders entering the AI sphere. The book covers an extensive array of subjects, from AI's role in diverse industries to generative AI applications, and provides guidance on avoiding typical missteps in AI initiatives, all supported by the most recent studies. Additionally, the book highlights case studies and applications that have earned accolades at AI awards throughout the years and emphasize top-notch AI utilization in Ireland. For executives, poly-architects, or technology aficionados seeking to make sense of the intricate world of AI, AI Unleashed, Navigating AI Revolution is your essential handbook. So it's now available on Amazon. This book furnishes you with the expertise and instruments required to deploy AI both effectively and ethically.